Hi friends, it's Sophia and welcome to Sophia's Turning 50, where we embrace our age no matter what it is, but especially if we're turning 50 in 2022. Today we're going to talk about just a few perspectives I have walking out there in the world as a middle-aged person. We've got a fitness-related health and wellness, and then I have a fun 80s show and tell. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about is probably a cliche, but as you get older, you start to notice that your doctors are getting younger than you. And this has happened to me probably starting about 7 or 8 years ago. I went to an eye doctor and I swear he looked like he was maybe 22 or 23. And I'm sure he was older, but oh my word, I almost didn't even want to let him touch my eyes, but it was fine. And I go to the doctor a lot. And so, if you go in and you see their diploma on the wall and they graduated in 2006, I'm like, oh my God, they're so young. But really, 2006, that's 16 years ago. So I think practicing medicine for 15 or 16 years, maybe being like 40 years old or so, I think that's fine. But in my mind, I still calculate everything according to like when I graduated from high school or when I graduated from college in the 90s. And so anything that happened after 2000 seems like it just happened. So I have to often do the math to reassure myself that the young doctor that I'm seeing has actually practiced medicine for more than 10 years. So that's one thing. Another perspective that I've gained out in the world, and this is primarily in the working world, is that I don't want to say this in a negative way, but like nobody really knows what they're doing, right? A lot of us are kind of making it up as we go along, doing our best, we're muddling through. But this idea that I've learned, I guess, that everybody is kind of equally finding their way in the world, no matter how high level they are in their profession, has really helped me to be more confident and less intimidated by anyone, because I've kind of learned that no one is better or smarter than me. They just have a different experience and they have different skills than me. But it's like the older you get, the more you realize that nobody knows what's going on. So kind of a corollary to that is the last thing that I wanted to mention, is that and I don't know if it's just younger people, but there are some people out there who don't seem to yet understand that you're supposed to try to figure out what you're doing in the world. Even if you don't quite know, at least pretend, try, figure it out. And an example of this is it's quite aggravating for me. And I have to say, like, maybe this is me just getting older and more impatient with people. But I went to the T-Mobile store a few weeks ago and I needed to get a screen protector replaced. And so I walked in and there were a few people in the store, but the very young person who, registered me, logged me in when I came in, said, okay, we'll be right with you. So I took him at his word. They will be right with me. It is just replacing the screen protector. That can't take that long. But I got a text on my phone after I signed in saying, thank you for your patience. We'll see you in 42 minutes. And I thought, well, that's not what he said. So I'm sure this is just wrong. So after I waited 6 or 7 minutes and no one had even glanced at me, I went back up to the guy and I said, this says 42 minutes. Is that really right? I don't think it's right. And he looked in his thing and looked around. I said, well, you just have this guy, they're just getting a phone and they're just getting a phone. So one of them, we have this one other person here that they're waiting to get a phone, but then it shouldn't be too long. And I said, there are 3 people here ahead of me that are getting phones and you think it's not going to take it doesn't take very long to get a phone. I was like, have you ever gotten a phone? Like I said, he looked like he was 19, so maybe he never had gotten his own phone. Maybe he'd only had a parent get a phone for him before. But that is not a fast process, as you know. And so I kind of huffed and puffed around impatiently for a while until one of the guys who was helping someone you know, how when you're, I think, transferring the data over or something is happening and it takes a while and you're just kind of all standing around, he beckoned me over and changed it for me at that point. And like I said, I don't know if he would have done that just naturally, or maybe he just noticed how disgruntled I was looking. But he helped me out, and I appreciated that. But I had already waited like 30 minutes by then, so I was very aggravated with the young person. And one other thing that I want to say about one time when we got new phones, the guy was, you know, printing out all the pages to give to us, and you know, Nathan started skimming them, and the guy said, "Oh, don't worry, it's just a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo." I mean, if you want to see two lawyers get very angry, just call the carefully crafted documents legal mumbo jumbo. That is not a way to get our business. And I swear, very recently, somebody handed me something too, and they were like, "It's just the legalese." And I was like, this is literally what I do for a living, is write legalese, so please don't diminish it. It's very important. The whole reason the legalese is there is to protect your company so you can keep your job. Okay, so cranky middle-aged woman rant is over now, so let's talk about our health and wellness for the week. And I just was going to talk briefly about a hike that I went on yesterday. There's some really good hiking around us, so I went on a really long for me, it was like an hour and a half hike. And where I go, this one particular hike is pretty hard. You know, it's a really deep downhill and then very steep uphill. And I do that because it is a rigorous workout, a rigorous hour-long hike. And so always on my way back, and especially yesterday, because yesterday was a beautiful day. It was 70 degrees. It was really light breeze, perfectly blue skies. So there was a ton of people on this trail. And so as I was climbing back up the hill, I started noticing these people coming down the hill to the waterfall. It's a really beautiful and well-known waterfall kind of landmark. And so everybody likes to hike to it. But I am seeing people go down there who are clearly out of shape and they're wearing fashion sneakers. I see parents, you know, with their little 2-3-year-old toddlers by the hand with no sort of like hiking backpack on their back. People don't have walking sticks, hiking sticks, you know. And so I am thinking, I hope they are looking at me huffing and puffing my way back up the hill. And I've got on like, you know, athletic gear and legitimate hiking shoes. And they turn around because I don't know how they're going to make it back. I wanted to stop someone and say, you know, you're going to have to carry your toddler back up this hill, right? It's not going to be pleasant. But hopefully it turned out okay. And I guess the overall moral of this story is when you're going to go out to do some sort of exercise, make sure that you have the right equipment and that you know where you're going, and you know that you have the right fitness level for it. Okay, and just for a visual, here's a picture and a little bit of video from my hike. This is my hike today, what I hiked to. Okay, now it's time for my 80s show and tell. And what I have today is my senior year memory book. So this was from 1990, and as you can see, I filled it up with lots of memories. You know, one of the things I miss now that everything is digital is actually creating books like this. I used to be more of a, I don't know if scrapbook is quite the right word, but I definitely do not print things out anymore like I used to. Okay, so this may be a treasure trove source of all kinds of interesting show and tells in the future, but right now I'm just gonna look at the page that's called Future Plans that wanted you to put in some pictures and it asks you a few questions about what you wanted to do. And so here's my page. So you can see my very hot Chrysler LeBaron convertible that I wanted. And then also here's a picture of the house that I said I was gonna live in. Haven't quite managed that one, but I'm only 50, so there's still time. I'm not sure if I would want something like that anymore, but anyway, it was definitely a fun goal. Okay, so here's what I wrote. Further education, UT Austin and UT Law School. So got those. Job goals, double major, communications and English. I double majored in English and history, so that one was close. And then lawyer or broadcaster. So as you know, I did become a lawyer. And I guess you could say now that with this channel, I'm also a broadcaster. So there you go. Marriage, I just put no in capital letters. What will you be like and what will you be doing in 10 years? It says, I will hopefully be single and in a successful law firm. If law doesn't turn out, I may go for a doctorate and be a professor. So there you go, some ambitious goals. And when 10 years out from when I wrote this, I was single and I was working in a successful law firm. So the moral of this story is write your goals down. It gives you something very specific to work towards. And I always find that they're very helpful for me. Okay, well, that's all that we have for today. So remember, nobody else out there knows what they're doing either. So it's okay when you don't know what you're doing, even at our age. And also make sure you know where you're going when you're going on a new fitness adventure. And then it's never too late to write new goals and reach for them. And of course, as always, embrace your age no matter what it is. See you next time.